Hey, welcome to the Press Box Chronicles with Jeff Pearlman. Hey, welcome to the Press Box Chronicles with Jeff Pearlman, the show where a cranky middle-aged sports writer, that is me, who has seen it all, takes you behind the scenes and into the stories. I'm your host, Jeff Pearlman. And today, we're going to delve into one of my favorite subjects of all time. Really, it's a merging of my favorite subjects. Number one, early to mid 1980s hip hop, meaning the age of Curtis Blow and Run DMC and Houdini and on and on and on, which is a passion of mine. And number two, sports music and the worst merging that society has ever seen, which is athletes trying to become musicians. And specifically, we're going to delve into the worst, I was going to say worst sports song, but I would argue the worst song that has ever existed. Worse than anything Taylor Dayne has ever put out. Worse than anything Daryl Hall did solo. Worse than Ski Low on his worst day. We're talking about the 1986 New York Mets and their rap, Get Mesmerized.
Get mesmerized, get mesmerized. All right, yeah, I like it. Get mesmerized, get mesmerized. All right, world. Get mesmerized, get mesmerized. Get mesmerized, get mesmerized.
So I love 1980s rap. And when I say love, it doesn't mean I love in the way I love like Tupac or Kendrick Lamar or J. Cole. It's not like that. I love 80s rap in the way I love old episodes of Different Strokes or the Brady Bunch. There's an innocence, there's a humility to it all, a weirdness to it all, a quaintness to it all. And I love the whole, like, I think of the song Basketball by Curtis Blow. And it's so basic, it's so great. You know, basketball is my favorite sport. I love the way they dribble up and down the court. Just like the king on the microphone, like Dr. J and Moses Malone. It's all very straightforward. The thing that happened, though, in the 80s with rap is people who should never have been even within a millimeter of music started thinking they too could rap. And this infiltrated sports. And the first big infiltration came in 1985 with the Chicago Bears Super Bowl Shuffle. And the Super Bowl Shuffle was a song that featured, among others, Walter Payton and Jim McMahon and The Fridge and Mike Singletary. We're not here to start no trouble. We're just here to do the Super Bowl Shuffle. And the Super Bowl Shuffle became a cultural phenomenon in America. It landed on the Billboard charts. It was inexplicably and an indictment of all things music, nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Rap Album. All these things happened with the Super Bowl Shuffle, and it became this phenomenon, an absolute phenomenon. And as a result, you started seeing copycats. The Los Angeles Rams did a song called, I think, Just Ram It. The 49ers did a rap that, just unspeakably bad. The Raiders did a rap. And in 1986, the New York Mets decided to do their own rap. And the story is insane. Basically, the Mets enter spring training as heavy favorites to win the NL East. This is a team with Dwight Gooden, with Darryl Strawberry, with Gary Carter, with Keith Hernandez. David Johnson is their manager. He guarantees we're going to win a championship. We're going to dominate. It's that kind of team. And the Mets have a guy in right field named George Foster. And at the time, George Foster's 37, going on 38. He actually signed with the Mets in 1982 and became their first $2 million player, which at the time was an insane amount of money. And in his time with the Mets, George Foster is just not just a disappointment, but weird. He's a guy who once hit 52 home runs. His first season with the Mets, he goes 13 home runs, 70 RBIs. He's just kind of a bust. But more than that, he's tone deaf. He doesn't relate with players. He starts taking a limousine to games and ignoring fans. He's just kind of an early douchebag in baseball, in 80s baseball. And leading into the 1986 season, George Foster comes up with this idea, which is we should have a rap. The 86 Mets should have a rap. And he gets in contact with two quote unquote producers, Jeff Gordon and Aaron Stoner. And they're producers the way I would be a DJ. Like I did DJ technically my father-in-law's 50th high school reunion. So technically I am a DJ. That's how these guys were as producers. But George Foster gets in touch with them and they say, yeah, this is a great idea. You should do a rap about the 86 Mets. And they decide to record this song. George Foster goes throughout the locker room and he recruits a bunch of his teammates to be rappers. Hey, you want to be in a rap song? Hey, I've got some producers. Hey, we should do a rap. And they open the 86 season by beating the Pirates. And the next day, the Mets gathered together, these players, to do a song called Get Mesmerized. And Get Metsmerized, I can't overstate this, is the worst piece of music that's ever existed. Number one, it was this boastful, we're the best team ever rap that was recorded 2 days into a major league season. Number two, the lyrics are brutal. Number three, none of the people could rap. And George Foster he enlisted as many guys as he could. So we got Dwight Gooden, he got Darryl Strawberry, he got Lenny Dykstra, he got Rafael Santana, he got Rick Aguilera, he got Tim Tuffle, he got Kevin Mitchell, and he got Howard Johnson. None of those guys had any musical talents whatsoever, but George Foster's like, you'll each get $500 to show up at the studio and we'll record this rap. And the lyrics were all written by Jeff Gordon and Aaron Stoner. And I actually want to go through this song piece by piece a little bit and break down Get Mesmerized. So George Foster was the brainchild behind this. Again, he was 37 years old. He was toward the end of his career. He had once been a great slugger, once been an MVP, and now he was kind of nothing. And George Foster also gained notoriety or lack of notoriety in the Mets clubhouse because he was always into the get-rich-quick schemes. And one of his schemes was he was selling off knockoff polo shirts to players in the other locker room. He would pay a clubhouse boy $5 to go into the visiting locker room with a cardboard box filled with knockoff polo shirts. And you knew they were knockoff because polo horses have 2 legs and George Foster's shirts had 4 legs on the horses. And they would go in the locker room, sell them to all the visiting players. And I interviewed clubhouse guys for my book. I wrote a book about the 86 Mets called The Bad Guys Won. And I interviewed the clubhouse guys who had to sell these shirts. And they said players would return their next road trip to New York with their shirts that shrunk to this size and say, where the fuck is George Foster? And they'd be like, well, I don't know. So he was kind of a get-rich guy. And they have this song. And George Foster is a lead-off rapper. And George Foster, if you ever heard him speak, he sounds a lot like Mike Tyson. He has a very light talk, and he kind of speaks with a lisp, and he sounds pretty effeminate. And his lyrics are,
I'm George Foster. I love this team. The Mets are better than the rent machine. I live to play, and that's my thing. This year we're going to win the series ring.
And it's utterly preposterous, first of all, because he can't rap. Number two, because the Mets are better than the Red Machine as a reference to the Big Red Machine, one of the greatest baseball dynasties of all time, that George Foster was on. That says, play together, our team's real tight, don't mess with us, we're dynamite. Strawman Darryl, it's all the same. Call him Barry, what's in a name? And this is handing off to Darryl Strawberry. Darryl Strawberry at the time was the Mets' young slugger. Back in the 80s, people were very weird about rap and black people in society. I grew up in a tiny town, Mahopac, New York. And my high school graduating class had 330 people, and we had 2 black kids in the class. One was Larry Glover, one was Jonathan Powell. And there was this assumption back in the day that the 2 black kids are going to be good rappers and they could breakdance. I literally remember this. We'd go on like our field trip, and everyone would be like, Larry, breakdance for us. And he'd be like, I don't know how to breakdance. Like, there were these weird cultural assumptions at the time that make no sense whatsoever. So Darryl Strawberry at the time was thought of as the big get in this rap, right? Darryl Strawberry, oh, he's going to be good. He's from LA. He's going to be really good. He's going to bring his West Coast styles to this rap. And he also wound up doing another song called Chocolate Strawberry with the rapper Richie Rich. That is so beyond bad, it's not even funny. So Strawberry steps and he goes,
Thank you, George. You're a classy guy with your black back. You know we sure rely. You know California is where I'm from, but for New York, I hit home runs.
And later on, one of the producers raved that Darryl Strawberry did his rap just over drums, like he didn't need a beat. And he is so preposterously bad. But the next guy up, Dwight Gooden, it's even worse. Dwight Gooden, he goes, Dwight's my name. What can I say? You know they call me Dr. K. Change up fastball, slider, and curve. Step to the plate if you've got the nerve. Like, that's what this song is. It's the worst song ever. And there are 2 guys in particular that really take it from very, very bad to the worst thing ever. Number one is Lenny Dykstra. So Lenny Dykstra is a story all to himself. He's in '86, he's a rookie with the Mets. And Mookie Wilson, their starting center fielder, gets hurt during spring training, and Lenny Dykstra becomes this important part. And his nickname is Nails. And he flies into walls, and he's this little white spark plug, and the fans relate to him because we're living in this weird racial time. And he's just this guy everyone loves. But Dykstra is also psycho. And I'm gonna give a fast forward story about Lenny Dykstra that explains to you exactly who Lenny Dykstra is. He's the weirdest human being I've ever met Forget like the John Rockers and the Barry Bonds. He's just weird times a million. Dykstra, a couple of years ago, he never liked my book, The Bad Guys Won. Just didn't like it. And a couple of years ago, he started shitting on me on Twitter when I was on Twitter. And he's like, Jeff Pearlman sucks. Jeff Pearlman doesn't know what he's talking about, blah, 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 blah. And he tweets out, I'm not lying about this. He tweets out, let's rate Jeff Pearlman's wife's hotness on a scale of 1 to 10. And he posts a picture of my wife. Now, my wife, Catherine, had recently donated a kidney to a stranger based off of a flyer she found in a Starbucks. My wife is literally a social worker who is a kidney donor to a stranger. And this is a couple of months after she donated the kidney to a stranger. And I DM Lenny Dykstra back. And I'm like, over Twitter, and I'm like, yo, listen, I guess you can come after me, but why are you going after my wife? She's a social worker. And he replies to me, yeah, dude, I was just trying to figure out if you were man enough to protect your wife. And he deleted the tweet. Like, that's Dykstra. He's a weird, gross. He used to, during the 86 season, one of my favorite moments in the book is they go to a golf club to play golf on Long Island, and there are a bunch of priests in the golf club, and Lenny Dykstra literally lifts up his leg and farts on the priest, and then laughs and thinks it's really funny. He was that guy. So Dykstra's here, and Dykstra is functionally illiterate. I don't know if he is now, but he definitely was then. And his lyrics are so, again, it's all shit, but I love to run down long fly balls. I catch them all. I ain't afraid of no wall. I bunt, I run, and then I dive. It's a wonder I'm still alive, which is really bad, right? But the next is even worse. So the Mets had a shortstop named Rafael Santana. And Rafael Santana was from the Dominican Republic. He was a young guy. He was your typical 1980s good field, no-hit shortstop. I think he hit 218 that season. And Rafael Santana's English at the time was really, really bad. Like if you were to pick one guy on the 86 Mets who should not be rapping, it is Rafael Santana. And to hear him rap on this, it's like clearly no thought went into any of this. In fact, let's just play the audio of him rapping.
Rafael Santana is my name. Playing shortstop is my game. I'm a cool glove man. I'm real smooth. Been mesmerized, just in the groove.
And that's what this is. And the funniest thing is, the only good rapper on this song is a guy named Rick Aguilera. And Rick Aguilera was a pitcher from California, very sort of straight-laced white guy, didn't know how to rap, didn't have any musical skills, but he's the only guy who was good. Everyone else sucks. And here's the best part about this song, truly the best part. So, Get Mesmerized, the idea is we're all going to get rich. We are all going to get filthy, stinking rich off of this song. Because look what the Super Bowl Shuffle did. The Super Bowl Shuffle blew up for the Chicago Bears, made them all stars. Walter Payton ended up getting his own record deal. The Fritz Perry got a record deal. They all became commercial phenomenons. And a lot of that you could attribute to the Super Bowl Shuffle. So George Foster and these guys are like, we're going to make loads and loads of money. The biggest problem, besides the song sucking, is the production was horrible. So they put no money into this thing, right? And when I was working on my book, I reached out to the different people involved. And basically, their background singers are just people they knew. So one of the producers, Jeff Gordon, had a 14-year-old neighbor named Stav Birnbaum. And he would literally see Stav Birnbaum, 14 years old, walking her dog outside her Upper East Side apartment. And one day he goes to her, hey, Stav, right? And she's like, yeah. He's like, do you want to be in a music video with the 86 Mets? And she's like, I guess so. What do I have to do? And there's like, well, you have to sing. And she's like, I can't really sing. It's like, well, that doesn't matter. And she says, can I bring my brother? So Stav and Elam Birnbaum are the backup singers on Get Mesmerized. And the other backup singer is a woman named Kirsten Van Brunt, who is George Foster's nanny. And I reached out to Kirsten and said, were you a good singer? And she's like, no, but I don't think that mattered. So like, you have this song. The audio sucks. There's no music video. It's brutally bad. And when it's done, the people at Passport Records, which is a make-believe record company, print up 1,000 copies, a 12-inch vinyl version, which you can buy on eBay now for a shitload of money, actually. They print out the 12-inch vinyl. And they decide, we're going to give these to the Mets. They're going to hear it. They're going to love it. It's going to coincide with this amazing run. The Mets wound up winning the World Series, and they're going to want to sell it at Shea Stadium. So they hand it over to the Mets marketing team, including Jay Horowitz and a bunch of other people. And the Mets listened to this. And I interviewed one of the guys who was in charge, and he's like, this is the worst fucking song I've ever heard in my life. There's no way we're selling this. And they're like, yeah, but blah, blah, blah. It's going to be great. There's no fucking way we're selling this song. There's literally no way this song is going to have anything to do with the Mets. It's not going to be sold at Shea Stadium. We're not touching this thing. It sucks. So basically, they have nowhere to sell it. And they end up selling it out of like trunks and in independent record stores. They printed up 1,000 copies. They sold 120. It didn't come out until August. And by that time, George Foster had been released by the Mets because he accused the team of racism for replacing him as a starting right fielder with another black man, Kevin Mitchell. It's kind of a weird time. He's already on the White Sox when the album comes out. The album sells 120 copies. It flops and dies. And you may think, well, that's the end of the 86 Mets and their musical legacy. But it's actually not, because the Mets, based off of this idea, decide to do their own song. And they do this song called Let's Go, Mets Go. And the difference is they have a singer, an outside singer, do it. They do a video where the Mets just lip sync it. And, you know, it becomes this almost iconic, weirdly cultural phenomenon in 1986. And it's, we got the teamwork. I still remember this, I swear, from being a kid. To make the dream work, let's go, Mets. And the Met players all partake in the video because they're all paid $1,000. They're given a free VCR and a free copy of a VHS tape, Dick Clark's Greatest Hits. And they do this song. They play it all over Shea Stadium. The song is all over the radio. The video includes celebrities from the time, Howard Stern, guys from Twisted Sister. It kind of blows up. They played it every game. It's a theme song. It's an anthem for 1986. If you hear it, you think of the Mets. And if you hear Get Metsmerized, well, you would never hear Get Metsmerized because it never escaped anywhere. It just became this parody song, and it dove and fell into the graveyard of past 80s music and really, really bad gimmicky hip hop that we should never, ever, ever, ever listen to again. That's a wrap for this episode of Press Box Chronicles with Jeff Pearlman, or as they would say in the 80s, that's a wrap. That's pretty good. Leave a comment below on what stories you'd like to hear more of, or if there's a particular sports figure you'd like me to delve into. Please make sure you like and subscribe and follow me on TikTok at Jeff Pearlman Author and at Bluesky at Jeff Pearlman. Thank you so much for diving behind the scenes and digging into the story. We will see you next time on Press Box Chronicles.